Sonny, Joey, 500. Got some goats in the building.
Get ready for a shakedown.
Prepare for a shakedown. We from Philly where they clap like huddles when they break down. Get ready for a shakedown. We underdogs, my guy. Kinda used to all the hate now. Prepare for it, man. Y'all get it. My QB got swag. My wideout is award winning. His fly was fly. Joey and 500. Like and subscribe. Yeah. Here's a quote you can sing back. Shake squad up and don't be a dingbat. It's a shakedown.
Don't you frown. Here comes
shakedown.
the shakedown.
Let's go.
You might do wacky thing by here. Welcome to the Philly Shakedown Podcast with Philly 500 Ed 1 Joey Shakes. Joey, what is happening, my man?
I'm just chilling, man, on this Saturday, just relaxing this weekend. And, where Eagles are done with OTAs, and we have some news today.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot to talk about because this is the day after the genius makes his moves. And I can't tell you how many people get upset with me. Why are you calling him a genius? He's the one that made the problem.
Yeah.
He's the one that made the mistake. Listen, you're not going to always hit on everything. You're just not.
It's normal.
But if you can fix a problem that you've got and you can fix it, I mean, you deserve a lot of credit for that. He fixed the mistake.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else could get what he got. Mid-round pick, I don't know what it's going to be, you know. And I will say this: I think the reports of 15 million over or under, I think that was not accurate. So I don't know what the exact number is yet, but I think there were reports that it was 15 million. I don't think it's exactly that. So I just want to put that out there. When
that's what I read.
Find out, that's what they reported, and then they reported earlier this morning. I read that it was actually not that. So when we get more news on what it is exactly, I'll share it. Jonas, what's going on? Kyle, KGK, MJ, Chris North, what is going on? Haduki, Troy, Brian, thank you guys so much for being here. James Vanover, Justin, Filioso, my man, it's good to see you. Luke, Chris Kaufman Jr., good to see you as well, my man. Zach, Big 23, EN890, good to see you. Habib, good to see everybody here. KZ, time member for 12 months, thank you so much. Let's go. We running it back this year without question. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Let's just start out with, obviously, the news from yesterday. Sources of 49ers and Eagles are working on finalize a trade that will send edge rusher Bryce Huff to San Francisco for a mid-round pick. The trade would not be processed until after June 1st. Both sides are working to make it happen, and Huff has already reworked his contract to help facilitate the trade in San Francisco. Huff will be reunited with DC coordinator Robert Saleh, his former head coach. And just let me say this before I get your opinion on the trade. The fact that he's gone and left Philly, I'm very happy about. He did nothing with the Eagles. However, going to San Francisco with Saleh, Saleh knows how to use him. He may be really good for them. He just does not fit us. So I wish him nothing but the best. Go out there and do your best. I mean, he may have a bounce back year, but with the Eagles, he just didn't fit, man. He just didn't fit.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Yeah. So they restructured his deal. The Eagles are taking on $9 million this year. 49ers will take on $7.5 million. So this was just something. I mean, we were kind of waiting for the June 1st date, getting close to that to find a trade partner. I mean, it's been rumored since like really the beginning of the offseason. And the Eagles found a trade partner, so they get rid of him. They save whatever they save, a mid-round pick. We don't know if it's for 26, 27. We don't know yet. If they get a pick for next year, great. That'll be 13 picks in the 26 draft, which is great. They're fully loaded. I mean, look, there was news that came out a couple of days ago that, Bryce Huff was missing voluntary workouts. So that was kind of alarming with the season you had last year. Like, why would he miss the workouts? And then he wasn't even warming up in OTAs. Now, I don't even know. Maybe you can answer this. I don't even know if he was at OTAs or even with the team at OTAs. So.
No, from what I had read, he was not only at OTAs, he hadn't been around all season for anything. So this was something that he knew that he was going to get traded. And it is what it is. Dads, what's up, my man? Goes, what's up, fellas? And then he says that he wishes nothing but pain and misery for Bryce Huff. Man, you're mean. Foster Parks, member for 22 months. Thanks so much. What's good, 500? I feel good about possibly going back to back. I feel really good about it. I feel really good. I mean, look, it was a bad signing for the Eagles. I think when they signed Huff, had they hired Fangio really didn't have a say in that signing, right? Like Fangio they didn't go to him. From what I remember Fangio said, Howie just signed him. So he just didn't fit, he didn't fit what we do.
Yeah, somebody asked him the question at training camp, like the first day last year, was like, "Oh, can Huff be a 3-down edge rusher?" And he's like, "He's not there yet." I'm like, "Okay, this makes no sense. Guy's getting paid $17 million a year, and I guess, like I said, I think it was just. And look, we're allowed a bad contract. We don't really have too many bad contracts, and every team has to deal with it. So realistically, like the Eagles, they restructured the contract for 25. 26, the Eagles are going to have to take on like 16.6 in dead cap. But when you think about it, you're getting a lot of money back. Okay. Whatever they got from the Bryce Huff trade, whatever that number is, that's right. Remember, you're getting $2.5 million for Bradbury getting released post-June. You're getting $4.5 million from Slay getting released post-June. And you're getting $6 million for Chauncey next year, and then 13.8 the year after. So I think it's going to even out. They'll be fine. So taking that hit, they have to eat up something. They had to eat up some of this contract regardless. So it was like a 3-year, $52 million contract, something like that. So that's what they had to do. So, and
this is what the NFL's and the other owners are bitching about with the Eagles, because of the willingness for Lurie to make some of these contracts up front, bonus type guarantees that he'll pay to cash. Then it opens up the door for the Eagles to be possible to do something like this. Okay, you would not have the genius of which is Howie Roseman to be able to do the moves he does without an owner that's willing to spend the cash up front. These other owners that are pissed about it are mad because they don't want to do it, and the Eagles do. So I think we got a really good owner. I do.
Yeah.
Because how many teams would have ever pulled that trade off, dude? I mean, who would admit the mistake after 1 year and then be able to pull a trade like this off? I think it's hard.
It's almost like they had to force their own hand in some way, because was he really going to hit training camp? Was he really going to step on the field in training camp, where I don't know if he could beat out Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt and Azeez Ojulari and Uche and even Ryland Jr. Like, I don't even know if he could beat out some of the depth guys. Like, what are you going to do? Right. Keep a guy on practice squad that's making 17 fully guaranteed? No, that was not going to happen. So, pull the trigger, man.
Yep. Kyle, thank you for the super chat, my man. He said, Philly, my boss told us on Wednesday we got the contract for Carnival Cruise Line. I work in a major food distributor. What, U.S. Foods? That's great. That's great, man. That's awesome. I know that one. My dad used to work there. But that's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's a hell of a pickup. Sweet. That is sweet. Are you going to get any free cruises out of it? That's cool. I've never been on a cruise. One day I'll go. Rogue says, hey, guys, I don't know if we'll do it, but I would not mind getting Kyle Pitts cheap and sign him to 2-3 years, see if he's any good. Well, that's where eventually I want to kind of go with this. I want to ask the question, does this free up the Eagles to do something else? I think now got 2 roster spots open. We're going to have a little bit of money to maneuver. I would not be surprised if Howie does something. Will it be Kyle Pitts? I don't know. Yeah,
they have, I think, with Slay and Bradbury now combined. I think with Slay and Bradbury, I think it'll be at 32.5. We obviously don't know the numbers for Huff being traded, so it'll probably be a little bit higher. Interesting. The Kyle Pitts news started coming out yesterday again that multiple teams have been calling the Falcons to acquire him.
Yeah.
And there was another thing I saw a couple days ago that it looks like the Steelers are trying to negotiate with Miami Dolphins to get their tight end Jonnu Smith.
I saw that. Yeah.
And, what is the future of Darnell Washington? Now, if you look at the Eagles roster on the tight ends, like, you're going to have no tight ends after this year. I mean, thank God they're retaining Dallas Goedert, but between all those tight ends that we got, the couple we got in free agency, Calcaterra, as well, after 25, your whole tight end group is pretty much gone. I don't see them extending anybody even during the year or even after this year for 26 and so on. So I said, Darnell Washington's got 2 more years left on his contract on his rookie deal, $1.5 million this year, $1.5 million the next year. And you can have him at least for this year and possibly next year when there's nobody in the room. And this gives you the option next year to go into this draft and go draft the tight end a little bit higher to get maybe the future guy in there and then let Darnell walk after 26. If you want to make a trade like this, how much is it going to cost? I really don't know. But I feel like if it's not tight end, it could be something else with some of the extra money that they have, but I guess we'll see,
Yeah. Mark, member for 16 months. Thanks so much. He goes, I can feel summer camp right around the corner. I know we're like a month and a half away, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait either. Jamoy says, Mark Holmes is saying saving cap money and getting a pick isn't good deal for a mistake. Correction that could possibly allow you to trade for a top pass rusher. Hint the Bengals. I don't know why he would say that. I mean, you look at a team like Dallas, you look at some of their major mistake signings that they've done. They never cut losses like the Eagles did. To get a mid-round pick, to me, it's genius. I saw Mark was very concerned. He started doing videos on the Cowboys cap situation. The truth is nobody's going to be – you're not going to have a GM that's going to get everything right all the time. It's impossible. Right. You're not going to hit every pick. You're not going to hit on every signing. All right. But if you could fix a mistake that you made, or I mean, that's hard to do. I'm sorry. You don't see that every day. What the Eagles pulled off, to me, is not something that happens every day.
How many rookies? How many first year contracts go to a second year a second term contract with the Eagles? A lot of players more than the Cowboys. How many players from the Eagles go from a second term contract to a third term contract? A lot more players. A lot more players than the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
How many guys, especially with, how many bad contracts do we have the last few years? Not that much. And obviously this was a panic move type signing, and the teams use June 1st. June 1st not only is to restructure a contract and try to facilitate a trade, but you use that June 1st date. If you have a player making a lot of money that's not living up to that money, you use that June 1st date to split up a dead cap hit that you don't have to get hit with that in 1 year. So even though 16.6 is a lot more going into next year, it's still a good hit, but they would have had to pay, like, dead cap wise, it would have been like 26, 27 million. They put it down to 16 just because they were able to split it for a designation for June 1st. That's what that is.
It's you're not going to be perfect all the time, but to be able to acknowledge your mistake and fix it. I mean, we saw the same thing with Rager, right? They drafted Rager, and he came back, and then they drafted Devontae Smith. They knew they made a mistake. What I like about Howie is when he makes a mistake, he's not afraid to fix the mistake. They're not afraid of course correction, and the owner being willing to convert money and use cash. It gives the Eagles an advantage over teams because teams aren't willing to do it. Every other team, especially the Dallas Cowboys, if Huff was on their team and they signed that contract, he's sitting there on that roster right now. That's the truth. So I don't know what their people are talking about. Now, Tortyville says, I was big on Pitts when he was coming out of draft, but he isn't panning out. I don't think it's just system Atlanta. He just isn't good as he was advertised. Man, when I've watched him with Atlanta, at times I'm like, man, he is extremely talented. I wonder with another team if he would be better. Like, I'll be honest, like, the Eagles got a ton of mid-round picks. The Atlanta Falcons are asking for a mid-round pick. I would not be upset if they took a flyer on him. I'm not saying it's going to work out, but if it does, and you have him as a backup, and you could put him in there purely on pass situations and pass downs, I don't know. I wouldn't oppose it, but I mean, I think personally, if I have to go make a move somewhere else, it's I think it's got to be on. I think there's other spots to worry about more. For the year. I mean, I don't know about what they want to do if they feel they have enough pass rushers right now. Do they feel that do they feel like Ringo? Like, I feel like they think Ringo's going to take over. And watching the OTAs with Ringo, dude, he towers. He's bigger than everybody else in the corner. I want Ringo to succeed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take too much out of OTAs just because they're not in full pads. They're not really competing. Like, they're just being put in spots, and they're of course the veteran corner. I know he had a little bit more snaps, but how much can I really take out of that for a first day and a second day of OTAs? I saw that they put DeJean on the outside and base, and there was rumors that they were. I don't know if there was rumors that they were putting. I don't know who was playing inside. I heard they were putting Makuba inside. I don't know if they were moving him around a little bit. So I mean, they're just moving guys around, and that's really it. So there's not much.
I think eventually, I've said I think at some point Cooper DeJean is going to be a Swiss Army knife. I think they're going to use him everywhere. I think that's where he's headed because I think he can play every position. So I'm okay with them putting one outside, but obviously I want Ringo to win that job. That's the easiest way for us to maneuver if Ringo comes in and takes it, but we'll see. Kyle Davis Super Chat goes, would you all trade for Jair Alexander or Bradley Chubb? I would trade for Alexander before I would trade for Chubb.
I do the same.
Fabio Davis Super Chat goes, I'd rather have a rotational D line that can be cheap. I think you've got I think you got a great rotation right now. If you want to add one more guy, okay, I get it. But I mean, I don't think you need Trey Hendrickson. I don't think you need, TJ Watt. If you want to go out and get him, you're only going to make yourself that much better. But I don't think you need him. I like the rotation they got. I really think that Jalen Hunt is going to be make a big impact this year. So I'm expecting big things from him. But we'll see. We'll see. Foster Park says 500. Do you think Kyle Pitts would be a good fit for this offense? He has a lot of potential, but he's not traditional tight end. It might be best to draft or trade someone next year. I mean, the problem to me with Pitts, like as a starting tight end down the road, is he can't block. I like what I like about Goddard is Goddard could block and catch. So when teams see Goddard on the field, they don't get tipped off. Kyle Pitts comes out, they're probably not running. You know what I mean? So that being said, taking a flyer with a mid-round pick, like a 5th round pick, for to back up what's his face up, Goddard, maybe put him in a slot at sometimes, take advantage of what he does good. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think it's something the Eagles are going to do.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make it obvious if you trade for Pitts and he can only, put him in passing situations. You want teams to figure him out that he's only out there for passing situations. So, I mean, maybe they could fix him up. I mean, I don't know how he's getting coached over there. I mean, you never really know. And if they feel like he's got a lot of talent, but there's some things he needs to fix. Like, we don't have to rely on him, obviously, this year.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, if we're talking about Kyle Pitts as being a future starting tight end for the Eagles, I don't think it works. If we're talking about coming in for a year as a backup guy that they're going to use to try to take advantage of his skill set in the receiving area at times, I'm okay with it. Justin Douglas says, I live and work in Pittsburgh. You know how funny it would be if the Eagles took TJ Watt for the Steelers? Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy. Well, listen, I think TJ Watt on the Eagles, I think he's 19 sacks, dude. I think he would be a monster with
yeah.
I think he's a better fit than Hendrickson, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because he's got the versatility. He's got a lot of speed too. The problem with that is obviously it's the price. It's these guys want
Right.
$30 plus million, and on top of
Yeah.
everything else, he's got some injury concerns too, man. Like, do they feel comfortable paying a guy a lot of money and they think he could be healthy? I don't
That's
know.
why I don't. That's why I don't think they're going to do. Like, I don't think, like, if you ask me what the most realistic trade I think the Eagles make out of everything that we're talking about, because most likely if it's anything, it's something we're not talking about. But if we're dealing with any of the things, I think Jalen Ramsey would be it. I think that would be more than Hendrickson or more than Watt or anybody else, because I think that if for some reason the Eagles don't trust Ringo, they may look to a corner. The rumors and the reports that the Eagles were talking to Miami about trading for him, I don't believe those are fake. Okay. So I think the Eagles want Ringo to pan out, but if they feel like he may not, they may look to something like that for 1 year, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just depends on his cap. It really, I know he's got some big cap hits
He
the next
does.
2-3 years.
They have to restructure his deals and stuff, but he's going to be gone from Miami. I don't know. Miami might end up, I don't even know if they're going to end up cutting him. So I just don't know, but I don't think he's going to be with Miami this year. So he's going to go somewhere else. And, I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing out of all the rumors that we've talked about that I think would happen. But that would mean Ringo is not the guy. That's how I would take it. And I don't want that to be the case.
And I don't think I don't even know if you put DeJean on the outside at that point. Like, well, I don't want to have another issue where like inside corner is another problem. Like, and that's all these teams are going to do if we don't have a good inside corner is going to put their number one guy on the inside and boom, and we're done. For an easy 5+ yards every damn play. So I don't think they're going to do that. Because I think obviously the number one thing that needs to happen, that needs to work, and this guy needs to pan out is Ringo winning that job. That's probably the number one thing we really need to happen.
Yeah, the two things we need to happen, besides all the health and all those good things, is we need Ringo to work out, or Makuba or one of these safeties to win that job. I'll go to this comment real quick and then go back. King Eagle says, I think Justin Simmons was on his way to Philly. City Brown doesn't look like how Vic wants him to look in his defense. Well, I think Makuba is going to be the guy that, they're going to want to see work out. I think it's between Brown and him, but I think Justin Simmons is definitely in play because, you don't have to give up anything. He's cheap. You know what I mean? You're not trading for him. He's a free agent.
A phone call. That's all it's going to take.
But I don't even think that, you don't even need to sign him now. You just wait to training camp. Go a few weeks of training camp, see what you see with these guys. If you don't like it, hopefully he's available. Or they'll sign him right before camp.
That's why at safety, I'm not really panicking too much, even if Sidney Brown is not really living in Fangio's spirits to really be something in this defense. But depth is important. But Makuba, hey, look, it's OTAs, not much is going on, but looks fast. I mean, he looks quick, twitchy. So hopefully he could do more. And if he does, great. If not, we always have the option where, I really don't want a red shirt I know he's a second round pick should be on the field regardless, but you always have that option to make a phone call to Justin Simmons. And trust me, it wouldn't take less than 2 words for him to come here. He would already be here already. He would be on the plane.
He's already looking at houses.
Yeah, it would.
He's already looking in South Jersey. Chris Scott says, remember for 45 months. Thank you so much. Says Michael Mayer is the perfect tight end to Goddard's spot. He's a good blocker and great receiver. Yeah, I think it would be a great move. I could see that. But most likely I think the Eagles, I think tight end is an early pick next year. They got a lot of picks though. They got a lot of picks. They're not going to use all those picks. So to me, I wonder if they don't look and say, man, we're not using all these picks. Let's trade and get somebody else in here, who or what, we'll figure it out. But I could totally see them doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
It's crazy. Jalen Ramsey is going to go back to the Rams before he comes. He might go back to the Rams. I don't think anything is necessarily going to happen. All I'm saying is that if I had to choose out of all the rumored names, the Hendricksons, the Watts, I don't think the Eagles will trade for those guys because I don't think the Eagles want to pay that money. The only one I could see that they may do for 1 year would be Ramsey if they don't think Ringo could be the guy. But I think they want Ringo to be good. You bring a Dory Jackson in because you want Ringo to win the job. That's why you bring him in, you know? Did you see the picture of Slay in his Steeler uniform?
Yeah,
that bothered me. I didn't like that, dude. That looked really weird to me.
Yeah.
It was weird. Gunny Mac, thank you for Super Chat. He goes, we are so deep, we don't need anyone. Ringo will have a Pro Bowl year. We are dynasty stoppers. Pats and Chiefs, we stopped them both. Yes, we did. Karma for the haters is that we'll win the next 2 Super Bowls for real.
That's
I think
true.
you're right. I don't think we definitely need anybody either. You know, I don't. But you know, they still may look to add depth and shore some things up. You know, you never know. You know, do the Eagles look at it and say, look, you know, we like our young secondary guys and we're gonna be fine, but maybe we want an older veteran to be back there with them. So you don't know. Dad says Asante Samuel Jr. still unsigned. That's surprising. He had a bad. Yeah, is he still unsigned?
I haven't heard nothing. No,
I've heard nothing. I thought he was going to go to Buffalo, but I guess it didn't. It didn't work out. Bendover says, "Yeah, I agree, but I also think Ringo's ready." Yeah, I think Ringo's ready too. I think Ringo is going to take the job and run with it. I think Ringo's going to win that starting job. I think he's going to be very good. I think we're all going to be going, holy crap, we got 3 really good corners. And I agree. On a personal note, I wouldn't trade for anybody. I would not. But if we have to talk about who, yeah, I agree. I don't think we have to make any moves. You know?
No, not to that degree.
Roll Philly Dogs, better for 21 months. Thank you so much. Because Ramsey doesn't like Vic. Don't think it works. That's the whole thing that never made sense to me about why the Eagles were acquiring about him. Like why? That's what didn't make sense to me. So, you know, that's the one thing that I thought was a little weird too. Wilson says Philly Mark was making fun of Huff and Puff trade. You know, it's funny, man. The guy's making fun of trades because the Eagles fixed a mistake. Yeah, his team hasn't won in 30 years. And the guy can't admit that his quarterback can't win big games. And he even went as far in the last debate to argue that the reason that he choked the last time was because of 14 penalties during the game by his team. It's like we're now blaming the penalties on the fact that your quarterback can't win. So you see a guy laughing and joking when the Eagles do something like they did. It just shows you that the arrogance of Cowboy fans and why they haven't won in 30 years. This is why.
And a lot of
this kind of attitude.
And I don't understand, like, players really don't have loyalty. Like, loyalty is very rare when it comes to between a player and an organization. But even like before, when Dan Quinn became like the head coach for Washington, like how many Dallas defensive players went to Washington? Like what, 3, 4 players?
Yeah.
You know, so you always see guys that are leaving for other teams, you know, but they can't even hold any contracts, man. Like they for an emergency, they have to make sure their quarterback's paid and their number 1 receivers paid. They really can't keep anybody else on that squad. And whatever they have right now, it's not efficient to Dak where he can't, you know, he just got paid. So like you want guys locked in and there's just not much there, man. Like it's really bad cap management.
I mean, we're talking about a team that hasn't won 30 years, making people that fan base making fun of the Super Bowl champions. I mean, it's laughable at this point. The guy is so delusional. It's not even funny. Yeah. I try to talk sense into him, but it's impossible. It's impossible. Big Chris says, what do you guys think of Mitchell falling the wide receivers? The number 1 wide receiver. That was interesting. So they moved Q to what? Left side for some reps. I don't think the Eagles will play that way. Like I don't think they're going to let him just trail whoever. They really don't play man like that. But to have experience to be able to play on both sides is important. I would love it on a personal level to see him play man to man and just go up against the number one receiver every week. I would love that.
I mean, the news came out that they're going to keep him at one side, and I guess that's what they want to do. I mean, I think we fell in love with that a couple of years ago. Remember the Sunday Monday night game when the Vikings came to Philadelphia, and we saw Slay traveling with Justin Jefferson all over the field, only kept him to like 40-something yards for the game. I mean, we loved that, and when they kind of strayed away from that, especially when if you don't have a good corner on the other side, you kind of have to do that. But, they're hoping that they don't have to do that this year, which they probably won't. So
now he goes over to the side where Slay is. That tends to be where you're going to get the number one receiver more often than not, right? But what if you're a team, if you're a smart team and let's say the other outside corner struggling, you're just going to move that number one receiver over to the other side during, to basically get the matchup you want.
Right.
But I would love to see Ringo play man and shadow guys. I would love it. You know what I mean?
True.
I would. Ringo did start against the Giants, and he did. I can't remember, but he dominated. Let's say I thought Ringo, I think Ringo, I think he's a victim of Slay going out every game for a quarter. Him and the other dude that we just let go. And I just think it's hard to judge him. I think Ringo can play, man. I don't know why everybody is so soured on Ringo. I mean, I think he could play. I think he just needs reps. He needs reps. He needs to go out. He needs to make mistakes. He needs to learn. He needs to play. That's the only way. And I'm rooting for him to win this whole thing. I want him starting.
Yeah, true.
What about Adoree Jackson? Adoree Jackson is to me, Adoree Jackson, he's a veteran, and that's where you do get some veteran leadership there in that secondary. But Adoree Jackson, to me, is like the safety valve. Like, if Ringo doesn't work out, Adoree Jackson is good enough to go in there and hold the fort down until, you get a younger guy or somebody down the road. I think he could hold it down. I don't think he's the greatest corner in the world. I don't think he's as good as Slay, but I think he's competent. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's value with him at being a number two with not too much pressure on him, a good defense around him as a role-playing type number two corner, and might play pretty solid here. So we'll see.
Yeah. Beats Guard David Super Chat goes, how about we trade for little Jerry? Little Jerry.
Who's little Jerry?
I don't know. The little Jerry, from Seinfeld. It's a Seinfeld episode. Remember where they were chicken fighting, and Kramer was chicken fighting, and he had a chicken was named Little Jerry. I think that's what he's talking about. But we'll see. Nathan says, I disagree. I don't think the Eagles' defense as good as it was. I don't think Ringo or Sidney Brown are good. Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say at this point right now, it's not as good as it was a year ago. Like right now, I think that's very fair because you lost Slay, you lost Williams, you lost Sweat. I think it's fair, but I think by the end of the year, hopefully some of these guys pan out. I don't think Sidney Brown's going to be starting safety. I think it's going to be either Justin Simmons or Makuba. Because I that's just my personal opinion. I think, if Ringo isn't good, then you'll see Adoree Jackson in that spot, or they'll go get somebody. And as far as the defensive line, Milt Williams going, I like Ojomo. I like Ty Robinson. I think that the defensive line is going to be fine. And I think Jalix Hunt is going to be fine. So we may not be as good as we are. I agree with you right now. But I think by the end of the year, by the time we go to playoffs, I think we're going to be just as good.
Yeah. I mean, how are you going to get better every single year? You're going to have to let guys walk. You can't pay everybody. Every team has to go through this. That's why it's really tough getting back to a Super Bowl. But the biggest issue we had the last few years before Fangio came in here is having a different coordinator every single year, whether it was Sean Desai, and obviously with Jonathan Gannon and his defense, you know what I mean? So, you're going to have to let guys walk, and you're going to have to, you need to trust in the coaching staff now to produce guys and draft well and rely on Howie Roseman to draft well. And that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, like it's tough getting back. You know, the Eagles are still good enough. I think this defense will still, but it's going to take time. It might not happen the first few weeks. Like, look, we looked a little bad the first week, but we were 2-2 before the bye week. You know what I mean? So they went through a bye week. They talked everything over, and look what happened. So, you know, who knows? Doesn't matter if it's Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean under a bad coaching staff, they might not be doing what they're doing right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So these coaches are going to get the best. Yeah, go pick the guy that you want in the draft, and it's a great pick. But at the end of the day, you got no good coaching behind it. Where are they going? They're not going anywhere. So we have to give it a chance. We just got to give it a shot.
Yeah, so. It'll take some time, and I think thinking they're not as good. Like, I think it's totally a fair point and a fair opinion. I have no issue with it. But what I like is, I think you look at this coaching staff. You've got, I think, you got Vic Fangio. Then you have Clint Hurt, who to me has been a defensive coordinator, probably going to get a chance again. And then Christian Parker is one of the hotter names.
Yeah, he's gone after this year.
He's probably gone. But he does the job he's done in the secondary developing guys has been ridiculous. So, I think that everything is in place for these guys to succeed. They just got to go out and do it. Roll Philly Dogs, man. Thank you for Super Chickens. What about Jair Alexander? Upgrade. I mean, to me, that would be an upgrade.
It is.
That would cost you. That would be an upgrade. Yeah. I'd have no problem with that at all. I'd have no problem with that. But I guess the only thing I'll say about it is I wouldn't have a problem with it because I think he's good, but I hate to see it because I think it would be an indictment on Ringo. I want Ringo to be successful. I want Ringo to come in, take that job, and run with it. I really do. JJ says, did the Cowboys trade for Jonathan Mingo for a 4th rounder? I don't think Mark should making fun of bad trade. Yeah. Mark is losing his mind. Mark is eventually going to start Dak Holt. We'll hold ceremonies in the woods at 3 a.m. in the morning. I know. I think he's already doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles have 2 receivers now. Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are playing. They're going to be playing 5+ years with each other. And what teams can afford 2 receivers that play at that caliber? Nobody.
Right.
So
yeah. That says we need some 500. It's Mark. That Mark's. I think we should make it. I think you're right. It's gonna be interesting. Army 63B member for 56 months. Thanks so much. What up, fellas? What's our record prediction? I got about 14 wins. I think between 12 and 14 wins is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I think we were the same as last year. What we thought. I think we're pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Kaufman says the CJ Gardner-Johnson trade still makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. I think there is more to it. That's behind the scenes stuff that we just don't know. But it's hard for me to believe that it was just about the cash. The Eagles could have waited 1 more year and then let him go. So to me, we don't know. Something's up with it. We don't know, why they did it. But I mean, I'm sure if we knew the reason, maybe we'd understand more.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure.
That's the one move on paper I didn't like. That's the one move I didn't get. I didn't like. I don't think there was any reason for it. Except for there has to be more to it that we just don't know. So Blaze, David Super Chick goes, yo, what up, guys? What's up, man? How are you? Our defensive backs are 100% better this year. Laugh a lot. I can promise that. Who's? The Eagles? Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles' defensive backs are good. Big Dog says mid-round pick probably go for a cheesesteak with whiz. Maybe. Ringo hips are too stiff. Ringo is more of a safety. DeJean is training outside for a reason. Vic isn't Ringo fan. Maybe. I think even if Adoree, I think if Ringo didn't work out, Adoree Jackson would take that spot. I don't think he wants to move DeJean out of the slot this year.
No.
I think they want to train him to start learning other positions, but I don't think they want to move him. If they don't have to. I don't.
Yeah, no. Until they get like a promising inside corner that could take over DeJean's spot, then possibly that they could move him around, maybe. But we'll see.
Yeah. Troy says, I don't think Vic is a fan of Ringo. I have no idea. I just don't know. We'll find out. Toivo says, yep, I like Makuba over Brown. Sidney Brown seems undisciplined coverage, and he's always looking for the big hit instead of making solid tackles. Yeah, I mean, and a lot what we heard about, Makuba coming out of draft was they really looked at him very similar to what C.J. Gardner-Johnson does well. They want that they want that safety back there that can cover. That's the thing. In that position, they want a guy that can cover more than anything. So, to me, I look at Sidney Brown, I think, man, he's more of a fit for Reed's spot than anything. So I think Makuba's going to have the inside track. But, I mean, time will tell. It'll be interesting once we get to train camp and we got the every day, they're lining up. Here's the starters here. Here's what we're looking at,
Yeah.
I love that timing. I can't wait for that,
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Concern goes, that's the only problem with Ringo. Hips aren't fluid, and that's the most important thing for corners, fluid hips. Well, maybe it'll come out, down the road. Maybe they'll move him to safety, I don't know. But I think if they feel that he's a problem and, he can't win that job, Adoree Jackson's going to be the guy. But I think that's the position that they will look to make a trade for, by the trade deadline. Kyle Thaver Super Chat goes, Mark Holmes is Artie Bucco's dumb cousin. Artie Bucco, yes. That's pretty good. He has hips of Charles Barkley. At least he didn't say he has childbearing hips. I would say, we got a problem. Slot corner is way cheaper. Yeah, right. And people have speculated that Cooper DeJean is going to be like, well, listen, I want to make my money. I'm not going to make it in a slot. I think the way the Eagles approach players, I don't think they'll view Cooper DeJean as a slot corner. I think they're going to view Cooper DeJean as a defensive weapon. And I think they'll pay him accordingly. And I think that you'll see Cooper DeJean get paid a lot more. But I think that the progression of Cooper DeJean isn't going to be in a slot. And then I don't think it's like we have Cooper DeJean in the slot and he's going to kick out to the outside. I don't think that's how the Eagles are going to use him. I think it's going to be Cooper DeJean. He can play the slot. He'll play safety. He'll play corner. We're going to move him all around. We're playing, we're going up against this tight end. We're going up against Bowers this week against the Raiders.
Specific matchups.
We want Cooper DeJean on him. We want Cooper DeJean on this guy. I think that's how they're going to use him. And he's going to be like a Swiss Army knife. I think that's the progression of where Cooper DeJean goes. Started in the slot, and I think he'll get reps on the outside. He'll play at times. He'll get snaps. He may even get snaps at safeties at times. I think he's going to be all over because if you listen to him in his press conference or OTAs, he kept mentioning slot corner, outside corner, and safety. Like you could tell they've talked to him about all three of those positions. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see him get snaps from all of those spots.
Yeah, true. He'll move around. No doubt.
Ty Robinson is making the blocking sled one per. Oh my gosh. Dude's a beast. He's a beast. Do you see how big he looks like? Dude, he looks like he's 350 pounds. But he was throwing that blocking sled like nothing, dude. It was like me throwing donuts down my throat. It was crazy. He's gonna be a problem. That's why I'm saying, like, I think he is going to be I think he's going to make an impact this year. Put it that way.
No, he should. I mean, look, he's been in a rotation, but I mean, I don't think he's a brick wall, dude. I don't think he's ever going to get blocked, to be honest. I think he'll be able to hold his ground, let these linebackers play downhill. I think he'll do a really good job. He'll be very disruptive. I got a feeling
he's going to be really good. Concern says DeJean is a problem from the offenses in the slot. He's like an extra linebacker with cover skills. I set my alarms going off.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
I said that was supposed to be for 6 a.m. I said it for 6 p.m. Oh boy. Yeah, I think DeJean is a problem for offenses. I don't think it's just going to be in the slot. We saw it in the slot, but I think he's also going to be problems on the outside. I think he's going to be problems if he plays safety. Like he can cover, he can run, he's very athletic, and he can tackle. I think you got dude, you might have got the 2 best defensive players in the draft last year. You know, because I look at Q and I'm like, that's a shutdown corner. You could play man and man like we talked about earlier. Let him follow, and I'd be totally okay.
Yeah, just get some picks, bro. Just he dropped like 5 last year.
Oh,
He just got hit on those, and he's
going to start hitting on them, dude. He will. He's going to get a pick 6 opening night versus Dak Prescott. Function says the G and Mitchell will be paid like AJ Smith. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Do you think Makuba Brown are future safeties? My personal opinion is that Reed Blankenship is a good safety. I think Reed Blankenship, I mean, you know, we talked about him last year. I just thought he was like a decent guy, just another guy, but wasn't really like, you know, good enough where, you know, you're going to pay him a ton of money, but he's a good guy to put in and he can play and hold it down. Last year, to me, I think he showed he's a much better safety than people think. I think Reed Blankenship gets extended. I think Makuba is going to win that free safety spot, you know, and then I think Sidney Brown may be the guy on the out down the road, dude. I that's what I think. Yeah, but I think Reed Blankenship is going to get an extension.
Hey, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope so. I hope they extend him. I think part of that was Chauncey. I think that was the part with Chauncey too. I think part of it was that, you know, if they extend Chauncey, they probably weren't there, or if he wanted a new contract or something, you never know what could happen. So he had one. How many years did Chauncey have left? 1. He had 1 more year. So maybe that makes sense. Maybe that's the point where they.
Well, he had two. He would have been here this year and next year.
Okay.
But next year was when it seemed like it would have, you know, that's when it looked like you would have cut him. You know,
maybe, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to know. Well, something happened behind the scenes with CJ, and I truly believe that. I don't know what it was. I just don't think it was a money situation. And trying to let the young guys play. I don't think it was any of that. I think it was something else that, you know, they just don't want to talk about. So maybe we'll find out one day. Major Payne says Huff will be a monster. In San Francisco, maybe. Could be. I'm not saying that Huff is going to go there and stink it up. I think Huff with Salah, he could go have 10 sacks this year for all we know. But he wouldn't do it in Philly. That's the problem. It doesn't matter what he does in San Francisco. He wouldn't have done it in Philly.
Yeah, and he had double the snaps. You know, he had more snaps, obviously, getting paid all that money. But I don't know. With Bryce Huff, I mean, even his attitude at the end of the year when he had his little interview and saying he was affected by everything that was going on, it affected his play mentally. And I mean, dude, like he only had like a sack and a half for the season, I think. I don't even think it was even 2 sacks. So, I mean, what did he do? Just nothing.
Nothing. No. Jalix Hunt rhyme with that, man.
Thank God.
Hunt. God, he's going to be a stud, dude. I'm so excited about him. Like, I really think. I think Nolan Smith is like 13 sacks this year. Like, I think Nolan Smith is going to blow it up because I think he had his coming out party. I think Jalix Hunt is like 7-8 sacks. Like I think he's going to do that, dude. I really am high on him, dude. I feel good about Jalix Hunt.
Yeah.
Antonio Holmes says, yo, what up, fellas? It amazes me. Fans wanted Ringo to win the job over Rodgers, but now nobody likes him. Even though Parker, AJ Hurts praise Ringo, why have fans soured on him? Well, I think what happened was they saw him come in at times when, Rodgers was out, and then Slay would come out. And, you know, teams go right after the cold corner. That's what you're going to do. And so people got frustrated with what they saw. I just don't think he's had a real fair chance to get reps and stuff like that. So I think Ringo's going to be better than people think. I think Ringo's going to win the job. I'm really hoping, man. I'm really rooting for Ringo, man.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah, same.
You know, hopefully he'll be like our Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
You know, this year, you know,
hopefully.
I think he needs to play. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing. And to me, the other thing is if the Eagles really liked what's his face Rodgers that much, they would have signed him. But he went for what, 2 years, $8 million, $4 million.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
not a lot of money.
when it comes to regardless if it was even 1 cent a year, okay, the comp picks, and he always wants those damn comp picks,
but
all the time.
If you're good enough to
Yes.
start, he won't do it. Rodgers never convinced the Eagles that he could be the guy. They let him go, and to me, I like Rodgers, but I don't know that he could be the guy. I think if for $4 million a year, the Eagles, they really liked him, they would have signed him.
And he's a legit starting corner in the league. I mean, then got suspended for the gambling. Then the Eagles were the only team that took a chance on him, and he did some good things. He came in when he had to, and he had some good reps during the year. In the playoffs too, he had the recovered fumble in the Rams game going downfield. So he put in the work. It's just, when it comes to those comp picks, he just doesn't pass up on those comp picks because he thinks whatever they do in the draft, whatever they're going to do in this draft is going to be good enough. They'll figure it out because the coaching's really good. And then they feel like, they want more picks. They know how good they're going to be, but having more ammo, more picks for next year's draft, they're fully loaded. And they're going to be loaded.
They do love those comp picks. But I got to believe, though, somewhere they said, we see something in Ringo.
They had to have.
We're going to be okay. I got to hope, Dad says, I've watched every Georgia game, and Ringo was the star of that secondary, not Starks. And I love Starks. All Ringo needs is reps to gain confidence. I'm with you. I'm all aboard the Ringo train. Choo choo. You know what I'm saying? Let's go, Johnny Ringo. You look like somebody just walked all over your grave. I'm rooting for Ringo. If Ringo turns out to be a solid starter, like let's say he's as good as Reed Blankenship is at safety, you got the number one defense in the league, dude. Yeah. You're going to have the number one defense.
No, you do. 100%.
Mamba says, Huff and Puff didn't want to be in Philly. Thanks, guy. He's gone with the Whiners. I know. Great. I agree. Yeah, Ringo's like 22 years old.
He's young. Yeah, he's really young.
Thoughts on Jihad Campbell role next year? I see Jihad Campbell playing early on in the year, Nakobe Dean's spot. That's where I see him playing, with a little bit of rushing the passer here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's where I see him going and him doing next year. And then when Nakobe comes back, we'll just see how healthy he is. I'm rooting for Nakobe because I'm rooting for both guys, but I think they'll use Jihad Campbell that way. And then hopefully Nakobe comes back and he's ready to go. I don't know when he's going to be ready. Like is he? He was wearing his jersey at OTAs and stuff. I don't know if he was taking part in everything. I don't think he was, but hopefully he'll be ready some point in the season. And until then, Jihad Campbell will hold down that fort.
Yeah, it's something. The Kobe Dean situation, just his future after this year is going to be. It's probably going to be the biggest thing really talked about. The good thing is, if him coming back later is going to be, God forbid, you have injuries at linebacker, and if he has to come in, then you have a fresh body that hasn't taken any toll this regular season, so he'll be fresh and ready to go if you really need him at the end of the year. But I mean, look, he looks like he's way ahead of schedule to me. I mean, I just don't know when.
He was moving well in the basketball court. I'll give him that. So but that's how I see Jihad Campbell. I see him kind of in that role, with also being moved around at times to rush the passer. Torrio says, if Hunt does get 10 plus sacks, then he would arguably be Howie's best draft pick ever. He went to Texas Christian, was considered a project. I know, dude. I'm telling you, the first press conference he had, I said, this kid is a star. He's going to be a star. He may not get 10 plus sacks this year, but I guarantee you, in the next 3 to 4 years, he will have a 10 plus sack season. He's going to be good. He reminds me of, and it's not just the number. I just get Trent Cole vibes with him. I get Trent Cole vibes with him.
Yeah, he looks really good. Really good.
Function says, give me Ringo over Rodgers. He doesn't tackle at all. Yeah, he doesn't. Leon Banks, thank you for Super Chickens. 500, you see Mark Holmes call you out again today? No. What did he say? What did he say today? What is he crying about today? The guy had to blame 14 penalties on Dak choking. I mean, at that point, how do you win an argument? The argument, the debate's over. The Watts is when Zach was next to Watkins, who went to the Raiders, was really style in the middle in Miami with Vic, was there. How I hope. I know people don't watch other teams. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing with Vic, I don't know what happened in Miami with. I just know that there were guys that didn't like him. Those guys did not buy into him. Our guys love him.
Yeah, I don't get
Our
it.
guys
We're
love
worried about it, but we don't understand why now.
Yeah,
but
it's just crazy. We'll see. Ringo has to play. Experience and time on the field will pay off at the end of the season. I agree. That's what I like. I mean, that's what I want. I want Ringo to be out there playing. I want Makuba to be out there playing. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to give up plays. We're going to get frustrated at times. But by the end of the year, they're going to start playing well. I mean, I think we saw it last year with the, look, we had so much success with the young guys last year. Why change up from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't understand. Frank says, I can't remember being this comfortable at linebacker. I know. It's been a long time. But, yeah, I mean, I'm very comfortable. Like, I think, you got Nakobe Dean coming back from injury. You have Jihad Campbell. He's come back from injury, but he should be good. Supposedly, he's supposed to be ready at camp. I think even if those guys aren't ready to go, I think Trotter Jr. can hold the fort down, dude. I think he could play.
Oh,
so
yeah. I think they
okay.
like him.
Then you got the kid, I would never pronounce his name right.
Smile Munden.
I think this kid's another player. I think they got linebackers, man.
Yeah.
Justin Douglas, man, thank you for the super chat. He goes, Johnny Ringo, Vanilla Gorilla, the Huntsman, next digital print house shirts, maybe. Yeah, maybe right.
Good.
Not a bad idea. Thank you for that super chat. Rogue says, it's because our team is tougher. We got Georgia Bulldogs, and it's about toughness. Miami, they're too laid back and don't want to work to be great. I know they got the beaches there. They got the nightlife. Those, they don't care if they lose. It's crazy. Mark Holmes said, you're happy because Howie got rid of a mistake and you're celebrating a player we never used. Well, I mean, the thing is if you fix the mistake, if you fix the problem, then why wouldn't you be happy? Who wouldn't be happy because they got rid of a mistake? And you got a mid-round pick for it. And it's going to create opportunity for you to be able to get other things and do other things. He's not killing us now. I mean, why would I not be happy about it? Should I be happy that the guy's on the team doing nothing? That's what I should be happy about. I'm happy that my GM could pull that off because no GMs in this league could pull that off.
Yeah.
Okay. What is he talking about? The guy's lost his mind. You should be happy that your GM can say, you know what? This is a mistake. Let me fix it. Why wouldn't you want that? That's why the Cowboys haven't won in 30 years. They've got a quarterback, 10 years in the league, can't win in the playoffs or the big game. He chokes. And every time he chokes, they make excuses. Well, you win with a team. You don't win with just one player. Of course, everybody knows that. But your quarterback never pulls up big when he has to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because of 14 penalties in a game. I mean, come on. That's why they lose, and this is why we win. So tell Mark to shove it.
Yeah, with the Cowboys, the coaches have been – how many coaches have been scapegoats for Dak Prescott? Kellen Moore included, where he's brought that team to be a top 10 offense for 3 out of the 4 years. I think his fourth year was I think they were ranked 13 to 15. And then Kellen Moore comes to the Eagles, and, it's almost – it's ridiculous, man.
It's just crazy. That's why Dallas loses. You got these fans, they walk around, they think that they're ready to compete every year. They think they're doing all this stuff. You got bust after bust on that team. You got a quarterback that can't be held accountable, and you're then going after me and Eagle fans because we said we're happy that our GM got a mid-round pick out of a mistake, and now that we're going to have cap room because of it? What is it? See, to me, that's jealousy. He's jealous. He's jealous.
What? Because their offensive coordinator said some things that inspired that they're going to have a good year this year. Who cares? George Pickett's trade. Like, are you gonna pay that guy after this year?
The guy ran and did a video. Oh God, we're gonna tell you what's going on in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb dropped the ball and started doing push-ups. And guess what happened? George Pickens came and started doing push-ups next to him. What team unity we have.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I'm like, oh, really? That's it? Come on. You want to see team unity? Look at what we're doing.
Takes more than that.
I mean, come on. It's a joke.
Yeah.
A joke. I mean, look, yeah, of course you don't win just the quarterback. But every time Dak is needed to make a play in a moment, he fails. Okay, when he needed to get that team back in the game against Green Bay, he throws a pick six. Okay, he's got 2 playoff wins in 10 years, and this guy's complaining that or crying and making fun of us because we're happy that our GM is good enough to fix a mistake made. Well, it doesn't make any sense. That's why they're going to lose again. They're going to keep losing. It's 7 stages of grief, right? I don't know. I mean, remember the Kellen Moore? You can't win. You got Kellen Moore. Ha, 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 ha. Kellen Moore, he's horrible, especially in the playoffs. He calls Dak all those playoff games. What does he do? He comes to Philly and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Come on. It's such a joke.
It's a joke, yeah.
Some people just love to hate, right? Yeah. Dwight Davis is 500. I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, and Dak was playing for the Eagles. He wouldn't last a game. Dak is, look, I honestly believe this 1,000%. If you put Dak on that Eagles team, I don't think the Eagles win a Super Bowl. I don't. Just like I don't think Herbert, you win a Super Bowl. I think a lot of these quarterbacks, you don't win a Super Bowl. You got to prove that you could do it in the big game. Playoff games, Super Bowls are different. They're a different animal than just a regular season game. Just because a guy could go out and put up regular season numbers, it's not the same thing as the playoffs.
No.
You have to have ice in your veins in the playoffs, and Dak doesn't have it. I'm sorry. There's no reason to believe that he does. But he wants to make fun of us. Go ahead, keep laughing, because we're just going to be polishing our ring, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, wait a second, the Eagles have the same amount of Super Bowl wins as us? Oh, crap. It's going to be like that. Buzzology says clown turds are working on the 31st year of not getting out of the divisional round of the playoffs that they reached 2 times. I know. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Rogue says, we all know Dallas is a joke and delusional. They have 2 receivers. That's it. They're going to have a pass 60 times a game. Prescott's going to have more pick sixes than ever. They can't run the ball. Yeah, they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run.
Yeah, and their protection is questionable. Like Cooper Beebe is their best offensive lineman right now, and they have other guys that either were drafted last year, the year before that, still haven't developed what they're supposed to be. Protection's still a joke right now. It's still not valid for their offensive line for protecting their quarterback at least. So you're going to have this big passing game. You don't even have protection that's going to be consistent.
Yeah. They don't even know what they have yet. So I don't know what, Dewad says, I will bet my $10 we're going back to the Super Bowl. F. Roger Goodell, all the hairs, right? Yeah, we're going back. I feel good about it, man. I do. Professor Hammond, man, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, hey, Philly 500, Joey. Great show as always. Thank you, my man. Philly, did you take down your Super Bowl live stream? Yeah, I had to take it down because the policy for the gambling sites changed. So I need to post. I'm halfway done editing all that stuff out, and then I'm going to repost it. So it will be going back up. I just have to take that stuff out so I don't get in trouble. I didn't want to risk, getting hit with anything because they changed their rules. But thank you for that super chat. It'll be up soon. Give me about another week. It should be up. Kyle Davis super chat goes, Mark Holmes is Jar Jar Binks, right? Exactly. We definitely would have lost to the Rams game with Dak. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to assume that Dak can just win, you know. And then if you like you argue with Mark, it's like he talks about like 2-3 years of Dak's career where they didn't have weapons, but he ignores the 7 years where they had weapons. You know, it's just look if Dak Prescott was all I'm saying is if Dak Prescott was the quarterback of Philly, dude, he would get a lot of shit. He would get a lot of shit.
Oh yeah, he'd be running out of town probably.
You know. Do you think Ringo, Dory Jackson or Ringo start week 1? I'm going Ringo. I think Ringo's going to win the job, man. I think he's going to win the job. I think Adoree Jackson will be good for us. I think he'll be solid. But I think I'm going with Ringo, man. Ringo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dallas is annoying and delusional. That's all. They need to lower their egg price from killing all them chickens. Agreed. Dwight Davis says 500 September 4th. We're going to find out how good the beloved Dallas Cowboys. Can't wait to play. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. You know, there's two ways to look at it because one, you know, you could look at it like, wow, nobody knows what Schottenheimer does, and he comes out and he shocks everybody, and nobody's ready for it. The other is that, you know, you come out with a new coach and you know, basically a lot of new offensive linemen, and they're just not gelling, and they struggle because they haven't played enough together. So there's two ways to look at it. You just don't know.
And the Eagles might keep the game, and the Eagles could possibly keep a game close just because, like we've talked about a million times, like they, you know, they're going to have to knock the rust off. You know, they don't play a lot of players, stars in preseason, maybe a half of a series to a series, and that is it. And then they just practice for a few weeks, and then that's it. So, you know.
JB3 says, do you think Adoree is better than the third corner than Rodgers last year? I actually think that he is. I mean, I think Rodgers has the youth and, youth on his side, but I think Adoree Jackson, I think it's, I would say it's, at worst case scenario, it's even to slight upgrade.
How old is Adoree? 20?
I want to say 29, something like that. I'm guessing, though.
Yeah.
But, he's had some good years. He's been decent. I think with good players around him, I think he'll be able to hold it down.
That's the main thing. Yes.
Island Philly fan, thank you for Super Chat. He goes, hello, brothers. Why does Mark think the Cowgirls are the standard the league revolves around? Because he's still living in the 90s, man. He was living in the 90s, But if you go back and you listen to, like, last year, going into last year, he's talking about the team being better than it was the year before when they won 12 games. They stunk last year. Then if you go back to last year before that, every year they're going to be great, and they're not.
Yeah, and they got to start catching up too, because like Washington's starting to catch their stride now. The Giants actually had a good draft, so you never know. They'll win more games this year, not by a lot, but they'll win more games. You know what I mean? So it used to be a 2-team race. A while ago between Dallas and the Eagles. Now, other teams are starting to catch on. They're going to get better sooner or later, and they could be the last. Do you think they're better than the Giants? Do you think they'll have a better record than the Giants this year, the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah. I think they're about 8. I think they win 9 games.
Yeah,
8 or 9 games. That's probably about it. But I think at the end of the day, I think their fatal flaw is you don't really have a run game, and you don't stop the run. And if you can't do those two things, you're not going to win a lot of football. I don't care who your receivers are. Alex says, I'm wondering how will the Eagles secondary do without C.J. Gardner-Johnson and big play slay? I think that's the big question. I mean, that if there's one question mark going into the season, that's it. So we'll see. I feel like that the safety spot is more of a question than the cornerback. I feel like at worst case scenario, you get a decent guy, a bridge corner in Adoree Jackson who will hold the fort down at worst case scenario. But at safety, we really don't know. We really don't know.
It's still up in the air until we get to training camp. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So
yeah. And Island Philly fan, man, I thank you for that super chat earlier. Yeah, Nick Chubb is available. I don't know how healthy, though. Why did the Eagles trade Huff? Because he was making a lot of money. He wasn't really going to play this year, and he didn't really fit the scheme. He was a mistake. It was a bad signing. But as we said earlier, you're not always going to say you're going to miss on signings. You're going to miss on draft picks. But are you humble enough and are you willing enough to correct the mistake as soon as possible? And that how he is. I mean, Jalen Hunt will be Jalen Hunt is, I'm telling you, star. He's a future star.
Yeah.
I think he's a future double-digit sack guy. I think he may not get double digits next year, but I think he'll get it eventually. I think Jalen Hunt's going to surprise a lot of people next year, dude. I really do. And I think Nolan Smith is going to be like 13 to 15 sacks.
Yeah.
And then I think if you look at Azeez Ojulari, he's probably around 6 sacks, right?
He stays healthy.
Yeah. He's probably around 6 to 8 sacks. Uche hopefully is about 6 to 8 sacks. And we'll see with that rookie kid. I'm curious to see him too.
Oh yeah, Twan Powell, Ryland Jr. Yeah.
Jalen's about to shine something. I think so, man. You could tell there's something about Jalen. He has that it factor.
Yeah.
Any only concern is quarterback too. Well, hopefully he doesn't play. You don't want Tanner McKee playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. Bite of Life says Vanilla Gorilla going to bench press Duke Poop Scott week 1. They bury him at the link. Wouldn't it be great? Twits, member for 25 months, man. Thank you so much, man. But what up, 500 Joey? Belt to ass, 42-19 Dallas.
Sounds good to me.
That is a great name.
Yeah, it comes down to that first game, bro. Like how well they play against Dallas, because you're going through a juggernaut after that for 3-4 weeks. What do you have? You have Tampa Bay. You have Kansas City. You have Tampa Bay. Who else they have? I know Denver and one more.
The Rams.
And the Rams. You know what I mean? These are all teams that were in the playoffs last year. So they did this on purpose to our schedule because they want us to struggle right in the beginning. So, that Dallas game has to look good somewhat. Yeah. Has to look good.
Harold says 10-5. Nolan Smith, Hunt 5 to 6 sacks. I guess 5 to 10 sacks. Well, I mean, we'll see. I think Nolan Smith's going to have between 10 and 15 sacks. I think he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, he should be now. Yeah.
I do. Philly 500, the Dallas Cowboys offense are scary. They got speed everywhere. Good luck in your secondary. It's going to be a nightmare for you bum-ass Eagles. Our secondary is good. Here's the thing. Dallas has 2 good receivers, right? They have an okay tight end. He's all right. But your offensive line is definitely questionable. We don't know what you really got there. And your run game is...
There's no run game. It's non-existent.
So if I'm playing Dallas, am I worried about your running game? Not at all. I'm going to be concentrating on shutting your passing game.
Literally, this whole thing of Dallas hype revolves around Pickens. It's all about Pickens. Like, literally, they think the second receiver is going to change that offense, change that entire team that takes them to a Super Bowl. Really, that one move is going to just, a quarterback coming off an injury, no protection, and you have no run game. I mean, it's just, that's why I like what, like at least be humble about it. Like you're like, yeah, sure. Everyone's excited about their own team for the season. I get it. But you're talking about one wide receiver trade that changes the whole dynamic of what's going on. That's going to do everything. It's crazy.
Let them say all that stuff. I'm okay with it. I think Dallas is one-dimensional. They can throw. They got receivers people catch, but man, I don't know who's running the ball. Miles, I don't trust any of those running backs. And the blue kid that they drafted, I like him, but I don't think he's a true number 1 running back. I think
he never was.
No, I think he's a complimentary running back. He would have been a better fit with the Eagles, being a guy to complement Barkley. But was it going to go compliment Miles Sanders? I mean, we don't even know what they got at running back. So I don't think they're as good as they think they are. Michael says, Philly Joe, you all see the Green Light episode with Lane as a guest? No, I didn't see it. Prank Schedule showed week 5 against the Ray. Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Shanghai. Should have seen the look. Oh, I know. Yeah, no, I did see that. That was so funny. For those that don't know, Chris Long had he had Lane Johnson on to talk about the schedule release, and he told him, he started telling him the schedule, and he started saying things that weren't true, and he said that the Eagles are playing the Ravens in Shanghai, China, and Lane's face, dude, was like,
he's like, that's really going to be tough.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was good. Jack Dwight, thank you for the super chat, my man. He goes, I think Huff is better than people think. You can't lead the NFL in pressure rate and be a total stiff. Just fell out of favor early, bad scheme fit. Yeah, I think it's all scheme fit. I think it's like 95% scheme fit. I don't think it's that he's not a player. I think that he has to play in a certain scheme to have success. I think, he's a guy that you want out there closing the games. He's a sack guy. I just don't think he's a good fit for the Eagles. Yeah, so I'm not saying the 49ers got a trash-ass player. I don't think that at all. He may go have 8-10 sacks with them next year. But he wouldn't have fit with the Eagles. That's the thing, That's the thing. ACP Baller, my man. Good to see you. He goes, Philly, the delusion is real. Cow turds stink. It's real, and it's getting worse for Mark. I really think he's going to end up in the loony bin this year. He has lost his mind. Twit says, Huff can't play standing up. He's traditional defensive end. I saw this guy last year try to go, get in his three-point stance, which he doesn't, that's not his game. He blocked himself versus Atlanta. The guy literally blocked himself, fell on the ground, took himself out of the play. It was crazy.
Yeah, he had a few weird, number one, when he first started, he was in a 2-point stance. But I don't know how you get no get off the line when you're in a 2-point stance. Then they start putting him in the 3-point stance. And then there was a play where a running back ran by him or something like that. And he stopped to fix his helmet. It stopped running at the person going upfield. I don't know. There was some weird stuff. Then he had just a shitty attitude at the end of the year. And then not even at the end of the year, not even say, hey, thanks for Philly for, doing this and doing that, nothing. So he gets a Super Bowl ring and he put up that stupid picture of himself throwing up a peace sign. And before the trade went down, I don't think he liked it here. I just don't think he liked it. I definitely don't think
he did. No, I don't think. Every time I talk about Huff and I put up clips of him, I always put one clip where it shows Jalen Carter yelling and screaming at him before the snap. Like he's yelling and screaming at him. It's crazy. Yeah, Dallas' best player is a kicker. There's no question about that, dude.
And he struggled last year. I think he had his worst year last year.
I don't know. I just know that guy could kick 70-yarders, man. But you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You keep kicking field goals all the time. Got to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It should be interesting. You know what I mean? Philly, Devontae Williams and Jaden Blue, the speedster, they're going to be a problem coming out of backfield. Dallas Cowboys 14 win or more. I don't think Devontae Williams and is not he's not scary at all. He's just to me a back. Jaden Blue. You don't know what he is yet. I think he's talented, but I don't think he's a number one back. Look. We'll see, man. We got to.
This is so stupid. This is so.
I can't wait.
I'm speaking for myself. This is so freaking stupid. Hearing this shit, it sounds so stupid. I don't even know. I
just can't wait. I can't wait to play the Cowboys, dude. See all those amazing running backs go 3 yards back. Let's see. The rookie guard's going to block Jalen Carter. Good luck. Good luck with that. Dude, Nolan Smith may get 4 sacks the first game. We don't know. It'll be interesting. I can't wait. I love it, man. I'll say this, Dwight. Believe in your team. You should believe in your team. I love it. Nothing wrong with that. We'll see. We will see. But anyways, is there anything else, man, before we get out of here you want to talk about?
No, that's going to be it. So next week will probably be the last Philly Shakedown for a few weeks. So next week is the last week for the Philly Shakedown podcast, and then we start our new season of the Philly Shakedown podcast.
We'll come back right before camp starts,
mm-hmm.
and we'll be ready to go. It's the slow time, man. This is it. But
surely, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. We just want to thank you once again for you guys spending time with us. Very interesting conversations, and we will see what happens, man. With that said, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. I'll have something out probably Monday, but not tomorrow. But
yeah, probably the same. I don't know yet, so I've been resting today from all week.
Yeah.
So.
Army, thank you for super chat. He goes, I heard the Cowboys are signing Derek Barnett, top-rated defense. Oh, really? Oh, God, I hope so. Thank you for super chat. I love it. I would love that.
Man.
I would have a lot of fun with that. All right, guys, we out of here. Peace.
2 minutes to go. You have plenty of time.
Come on.
Oh, shit! Dad! No!
It's over! It's over! This game is over! Cut it off! It's over! Fuck. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay. Congratulations, Green Bay.
I said run the ball.
Congratulations, Green Bay. Dak Prescott, you need to be fired today. That was on you, Dak. That was on you, Dak. That was on you, Dak.
I said run the ball.
That was on Dak Prescott. Trying to feed the fantasy lamb. Trying to feed the sea lamb. You tried to feed the sea lamb. You got to give it to sea lamb. God. It's over. It's over, Dak. Put Trey Lance in the game. Trey Lance can't do worse than you.
I'm an idiot because I buy into this shit. Because here's the thing. I am a grown-ass man. And I talk the talk. It is killing me.
I feel it coming. I feel like it's going to take Jerry Jones taking it. Cut it off. It's over.